And one day, it was a dress down day, and I wore leggings and kind of like a baggy shirt. And I gained a little bit of weight, but I was also training, so I was a bit chunky. So I had a bit of a big ass. And the lady called me in, the manager, and was like, Jemma, your leggings are a little bit too tight. I think you might be distracting some of the guys in the office. Go home and change. And she was like, just remember, come to work dressed for the job you want.
And you resigned that day?
I did.
Like, how does the first time somebody like joins the class? Like, look at your Instagram.
So they'll drop me a message. We will go through a consultation. So we'll have a Zoom call. Ask them some questions. Just get to know them. You know, make them feel comfortable, because I want them to get to know me as well as I get to know them. Because when you have a trainer and you're with them for a minimum of 12 weeks, you want to get along and you want to click with that person and their personality. It's like finding your ideal hairdresser or brow lady. You know, once you click with them and you know they're good, you stay. And 95% of the time, you know, we're a good fit, and sometimes people aren't and we just don't click. And I'm always completely honest with people. I'll always give them my best advice. And sometimes it's just not what they're looking for, or, you know, the program's not in their best interest.
Okay. I mean, what are they? What are the people who are not really clicking with you? What are they looking for?
People that want a quick fix.
Okay.
People who are not willing to invest in their health and see everything, oh, that's way too expensive. I don't want to cook. I can't be bothered to cook. I'm too lazy. I wake up at 12 o'clock. I don't have time to do the sessions. It's too late for me. Things like that. People who like the thought of having a trainer because it's cool, because their friends have it. And then there's people who really genuinely want to change. And they really want it. And they've just had a baby and they're feeling self-conscious and they're willing to do everything that you tell them to do. And it's so rewarding seeing that person change their life, change their body, and become a better version of themselves, rather than girls that are just too lazy to wake up to work out.
That fascinates me in such huge levels, because if I was looking for a PT, no offense, the last I would look at would be through a virtual PT, right? I think if you're willing to spend the money, then spend the money and get someone and work with them on either one-to-one basis or with a class or whatever, right? So I find it interesting that your target market are people who are interested in doing it virtually. Maybe because the convenience of doing it at home.
So here's why. My target market are busy women that don't have a lot of time. They're working crazy hours. They don't have time to get stuck in traffic or drive to a gym, or moms with a big family and kids who need to be around their children. So if they can train from the comfort of their own home, they've got that privacy, which a lot of people like here. Flip the laptop up, do their workout in 30 minutes to 45 minutes, get it done, shower, khalas. So I have, after Corona, when I took everything online, people were really hesitant because it's new and they don't like change. It was always like, I want one-to-one, one-to-one's better. When I took it online, people were actually like, this is actually pretty good. It's so convenient and I'm still getting equally, if not better results, because I can have that flexibility to do it whenever I want rather than a fixed time. And now people are used to it. I have offered my clients for me to rent a space and for them to come, and I'll do a big class. And out of all of my girls, only 2 wanted to do it.
Interesting.
And they're like, no, we like this now. We prefer this because it's so convenient.
Interesting.
And I mean, I can still get girls to lose 20, 30 kilos doing online workouts. You don't need to get these ladies in a gym with heavy weights, because they don't want to be big and bulky. They just want to be fit and healthy and toned and get rid of their stomach.
I love that, by the way, because there's never been a human being in history that accidentally became a bodybuilder. That does that mentality, like I'm going to touch weights and I'm suddenly going to be bulky. It's not like.
I think that's a fear a lot of females have that aren't really educated. For us to build muscle for a female, I think it's about 100 grams to 300 grams a month. If your diet's on point and you're training hard, and women just think, poof, they're going to turn into Judy Marsh. But it doesn't work like that. A lot of people taking steroids and things for an extra advantage, but it's something that I've never done myself. At the max, supplements, BCAAs, health supplements, protein, things like that. But
I like how you put protein as a question mark.
Protein powder. But, the more mature I get as a personal trainer, the more I realize that none of that stuff is really that good for you. And right now, I don't tell any of my clients to take protein powder, including myself. I don't take any extra supplements apart from...
Until you start your own brand.
Health things. And really depends. I could vlog things. If I told someone to buy something, they would buy it. But people put their trust in me, and I only really would advocate things that I genuinely believe in. And I take things like probiotics, turmeric.
Creatine?
No, I wouldn't take that.
Really?
No.
Why? Because of the water retention?
It's just, again, it's not natural, and your body makes it naturally anyway.
Yeah.
Unless you're doing a competition and you're a bodybuilder, there's no real need for it. I did take it in the past, but now with myself, my training, my health, my ladies, they don't need it. They're moms. They don't need to be taking all that rubbish. Natural is best.
Well, I agree with you on that. I think with a lot of fitness industry, we discredit that you should be getting everything you need naturally from the foods that you eat. And the supplements are only meant to be there as if you're not getting it from your usual meal plan.
100%. And again, people think, I'll take a multivitamin, I'll take this, I'll take vitamin D, but they don't actually get the blood test done to see what they need. So they could be taking extra things that they don't need, that their body's making by itself. So that's something I've actually done recently, and it's something I believe in. Get your blood test done, see where you're deficient, and then work from there. Because there's no point taking things if you don't need them.
Absolutely. I agree with the part with the deficiency, but I'm not a big believer in blood tests in the sense that it works on averages, right? And that does not necessarily mean you are... Because no human being on the planet is the perfect medical average, right? Because it's a conglomeration of most human beings. So you can take into consideration like pulse rate or body temperature. Some people, although 38, 39 would be considered a fever, there are people who live day-to-day lives at the temperature of 38, which would be a mild fever, and you would be treated for it. But in reality, that's just how your metabolism, your body operates. And the same thing is with blood tests and stuff like that. I do agree with you on the deficiency part. I'm less invested into it when it comes to if you're in overproduction, whether it be like muscle enzymes, stuff like that.
But I mean, to cover all bases, just a probiotic, because we all need that. We all need healthy digestion. Something like turmeric, I think so.
I think it's...
Vitamin D, sunlight.
Vitamin D is sunlight. Vitamins... Your body does not produce vitamin C. I knew it.
Yeah, both actually, because vitamin D obviously
Either,
sunlight.
You're right.
And
vitamin K as well.
Yeah, the thing is, so many people here are deficient in vitamin D because we hide from the sun, we work all day, we cover, it's so hot outside, and that can actually cause a lot of health problems.
Considering you only need 20 minutes a day in the sun.
I know, you'd be surprised. I mean, we live in one of the sunniest countries in the world, but yet everyone's deficient. And I would even say I'm probably deficient, and we need to spend more time in the sun, make more of an effort. But it's hard when it's so hot.
Well, I've been trying to torture myself by going for a walk every day for 30 to 40 minutes, or a 20-minute jog around the island. mainly because I see like the older generation who are like in the jalsa, which is like their living room outside, and they're drinking like hot coffee or hot tea in the middle of the summer without an AC, without anything, and they're like looking at you like, "What's your problem?" You know what I mean? And so I try, like, I'm trying to put an active effort now in my 30s to be like, no, I want to be able to be 90 and be okay. Yeah.
But the thing is, it's so hard taking care of yourself. There's so much, you know, you need to sleep on time, you need to drink water, you need to get vitamin D, you need to exercise, you need to eat well, you need to meditate, you need to take care of your physical health and your mental health. It's a lot, especially as you get older. You have responsibilities, you have a business. In my case, when I have a lot of people counting on me and a lot of girls that I need to take care of, you really need to be, or try to be, on your A game as much as possible. And it's hard and it can get exhausting. And that's why I'm always really careful about what I eat, getting to bed on time. I like to be asleep by 9:30. I do wake up, I do meditate, I do try to exercise, because when I don't, I feel like crap. And then I don't deliver as well for my clients. So, yeah, it's a lot. Taking care of yourself so that you can take care of all of these other people. But you gotta practice what you preach. I find in this industry, especially as a trainer, you can't tell your clients to do something and you do the complete opposite. You can't be a hypocrite.
No, I agree where you're coming from, but I think you would be a lot happier if you don't look at social media. I think that's number one step in mental health. I think getting rid of social media will be a huge benefit. And the second is to make more of an active commitment to spend time with your community or with your peers. I think those are the two biggest opponents. And we literally look this up almost every single day. Danny, you know what I'm going to ask you to type in? Anxiety level in high school versus... There you go. We literally look it up every day because people don't believe us. The average high school kid today has the same level of anxiety as the average psychiatric patient in the early 1950s.
That's bad. That's terrible.
And the reasons for that is obviously the lack of support that you have from your community that you used to have. You know, kids used to go out and play with other kids.
Yeah.
Rather now, it's like on the computer and that's it.
Thing is, as much as I wish that I could go off social media, it's a marketing tool and it's part of my business. So it's something that I need to run. And there have been times in the past where I needed a break and I've completely went off it for around 6 months. And it's been great. But also, I believe in using social media for a positive. I try to post things that are useful. I try to post things that are informative. And I also try to be real in what I post, things that I struggle with, because there's a lot of fitness people out there that you think their life's perfect. They look great. They're eating perfect all the time. There's times where I would post, okay, today I feel like shit. Today I haven't ate well. I had a really bad day today, and that's okay because I'm just human. But you also got to post the positives because people wouldn't want to view your account if you're always negative.
Sure.
But you don't want to be unrealistic.
Okay.
You know, I don't want to say every day I wake up and I exercise, every day I eat perfect, because I don't. It's just about finding a balance and being relatable, because no one on this earth wakes up every day, has a perfect diet, perfect routine, and is completely happy with every aspect of their life.
Okay. But I mean, like you mentioned, right? You use the platform as a marketing tool, not so much as your personal, like, diary.
Not so much, no.
Right?
Because
you're talking from a brand very differently than when you're talking from a person.
Years ago, when I first set up my Instagram, it was personal stuff and just photos. Then it went from that to bodybuilding stuff.
Download it up.
Bodybuilding photos and things like that, competitions, bikini photos. But after I moved here, I completely deleted all of those and restarted my account, because from what I would have posted years ago is very different to now. I wouldn't post any bikini photos. I'm quite conservative in what I post. And
really, why not bikini and like body photos? You feel like it'll attract the wrong crowd?
now, if I post a photo of my body or a before and after or bikini, I make sure
Keep scrolling down.
that it's a tasteful or motivational photo. There's so many girls out there just posting bikini pictures, photos of their ass for the wrong type of attention. Here, I'm very considerate of the Middle East, the market, my image and what I want to portray. I don't want to portray a negative body image. I don't want people to look at me and think that's unrealistic. But on the flip side, I have insecurities. There's things that I'm not always confident about with my body.
Okay.
And that's things that have stemmed from bodybuilding days.
Okay. We're just going through, streaming down your post. I feel like it's giving you anxiety.
No, it's fine. So, I mean, from the bodybuilding days, that gave me body dysmorphia. And my body's been every shape and size under the sun. So I understand what my clients go through. There's days where I'd wake up and I feel bloated and I think I look fat when I don't. And there's days where I wake up and I'm like, okay, I look good. But because I've been there, my weight's fluctuated. There's one point I gained 16 kilos. Because I was going through a pretty rough patch in my life. But I got it off again. So, I understand what girls have been through. I understand when they feel uncomfortable or when they're overweight and they want to feel good and get their confidence back. Because it's not nice to walk into a shop and try something on in a size that used to fit you. And it doesn't even get around your waist. And you're having to buy clothes just to cover, your lumps and bumps rather than buying clothes that you really love.
Because, I mean, which Gemma am I talking to? Am I talking to you as an individual? Am I talking to you as the brand?
Right now,
because
you're talking to me as a bit of both.
A bit of both, right? Because because some of your stuff is what you're selling me is very markety, and some of the stuff is very personal. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you're doing a great way to interlock those two, right? Don't you feel like? I mean, I don't know. Do you really want yourself to be the brand? Do you get what I mean?
I do. Yes. Because I feel in every business, there's a story behind it, and everyone has a story to tell, and everyone has a struggle. And as a result of that, that's where the business comes. And I feel rather than having a random logo, you've got a face to that. Although I don't post anything too personal, I do post things that I want people to know about me.
That's what I'm saying, right?
That will help to inspire them and help them to realize they're not alone and that I've suffered with things, I've been through things, and people have been following me for years and they've followed my story, me coming back to Belfast. They've watched me grow and they've watched my account change. And some girls that have been following me for years and only decided to sign up, they're like, we feel like we already know you. And I feel that's a good thing rather than just this cold person. You're just selling a program and you're not following up with them. You're not really getting to know that person.
Interesting.
So being relatable, getting people to know me, trust me, I think is
because right now you're talking like as an influencer, as more of a person of a public eye than from a personal aspect to it, because there's a differentiation when you do a lot of content, you start losing who you are and then start becoming what you present. You know what I mean? There's that danger in like staring into that void.
So I try to have a good balance of social events, people getting to know me, things people want to hear about, educational things, testimonials, you know, people's lives have changed, people that are, you know, really, they came to me with problems, they came to me with health issues, diabetes, PCOS, and they don't have those things anymore.
Okay.
And hearing it from their perspective and people viewing that, it gives them hope that, okay, I've tried everything, nothing's worked. It's worked on this girl, so it can work for me. Yeah, you know, I made a pretty personal post about a month ago about, you know, things I've struggled with. There's times where I feel really low. There's times where I binge eat. There's times where I can't be bothered getting out of bed because, you know, I'm so stressed. I'm so overwhelmed. And I got a really, really, really good feedback from that because I don't think anyone is, their life's perfect and they're 100% happy. There's always things that people suffer with that we don't really know. And just letting people know that that's okay. Like, I will openly say that I do suffer with mental health problems and I have a lot more so in the past, not as much now.
Depression?
But I still do.
Bipolar or?
I've suffered with depression in the past.
Okay.
And the odd time it does creep back in. But it's learning to manage that.
What's the trigger for you? Is it that you feel like you're not making enough headway in your life or that you're in a bad position in your life?
Stress from running a business and having a lot of people count on you.
That was exactly what I was going to say, because from what I'm listening from you is that your life is almost centered around everyone else and not so much of you. And that's why I said that key thing earlier. I said, I feel like I'm talking to a brand rather than an individual. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right? And I'm very interested in who you are. I understand what your business is. And I'm happy to promote your business. That's not an issue. but you can't have a good business if you don't have a good person, right? Steve Jobs was separate than Apple. No one ever assumed that Bill Gates is separate than Microsoft. No one ever looked at Bill Gates and was like, "Oh, you're not Microsoft." Yeah. No, they were separate individuals.
Well, there's always that. Probably every business owner comes across the self-doubt that they're not doing enough, that they want to do more.
Imposter syndrome.
Imposter syndrome. Yeah, you got it. Working long hours. I mean, I quit jobs because they were making me work 12, 15, 20-hour days.
Now you're working.
Whereas I'd happily do that for myself
because
it's rewarding and it's my baby and you're doing it for, you know, an end goal. You're helping people change their lives. You're not just helping pay someone's salary at the end of the day. And that's what's really rewarding. And when I do feel overwhelmed and I do feel low, you know, maybe I'll spend 1 or 2 days trying to get my head together. But ultimately, I've all these girls counting on me and I get myself up, I get to work, I make sure everyone's good, because at the end of the day, when you help someone change their life, that motivates me. That gets me out of bed in the morning, and that's more rewarding than any amount of money in the world.
Okay, so if sounds almost like a God complex that in you. Don't you feel like you could achieve more by taking a step back and then refocusing your effort, maybe hiring 1 or 2 people who do classes and you can focus?
I do that. Yeah, I have. I mean, I used to be a one-man band for a long time. Then when Corona hit, the business grew pretty quickly and I couldn't take it on by myself. And I have hired a few really amazing girls that work with me and I've been really lucky and blessed. They're great. I couldn't do it without them.
And how do you do a profit split or do you pay them a salary? How does that work?
I pay them a salary and commission.
And commission,
so, yeah, based on that.
Because I have a friend who works he owns a gym in London. Mm-hmm. I forgot what the name is. Sorry, buddy. F12 or something like that. And he was telling me his biggest hurdle for his business is that when that trainer leaves, so do the customers, because the trainer attracts that people. They get locked into that person. Wherever that person then moves to a different gym that gives them better commission, then those people are gone. Okay, he charges based on class basically rather than month. So I think it's like somewhere like 40 quid a month. 40 quid a class.
Well, I mean, ultimately, I have studied a lot. When I qualified for my PT, I've never stopped learning. I've spent a lot of money on courses and improving myself and improving my knowledge so that I can give a better service to my clients. And that's things I've also taught my staff. So, of course, you know, that's always a risk and something that, you know, they could do. But at the end of the day, I try to be a good boss and I try to treat my staff with respect and I give them everything they need and they want.
I didn't say you didn't.
So in return, it's like happy staff, happy clients. There's always that risk, yeah, of course, they could leave. But at the end of the day, I've built something from my knowledge. They could still do a really great job, but they only know maybe 50% of the logistics and what goes on in the background, whereas, you know, I know the rest. And ultimately, I do a good job, and I don't think there would be any risk of not having clients, because when you're passionate about what you do and you're good at what you do, there's always going to be customers. There's always people that need help. There's always people that need to lose weight. But
open the Instagram again, Dan.
We do kind of have all of the clients train with all of the girls. Okay. So it's not just me. They'll be paired with me and one other girl, but all of us take the classes. So we see the clients all of the time. And it's not just I get the clients for them. I'm always checking in with them. I'm always messaging them. I'll meet them for coffee. So I play a really active role in that as well. Okay. So yeah.
Okay, so you don't have a facility. Do you have a facility and office space at the moment where you have your girls show up and do the classes there that they're doing on Zoom, or are they all doing it from their own home?
I have a location in my building in Seath.
Sure.
And they have a private studio and a ladies' gym there, so we would do it from there.
All right, so at least you don't have to like chase up on people and stuff like that. You know that they're already in the house.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And how can I ask, what's your staff count at the moment?
I have 3 staff.
You have 3 staff?
Yes.
And are you suffering with a lot of labor turnover, or you're okay?
No, I've had them ever since I've started.
Okay. Brilliant. But I noticed that you don't have a website, or do you?
I do have a website.
It's not on your Instagram. Danny, can you find it?
It's trainingbyjemma.com. Or should be. Yeah.
Yeah. You'll have to turn off dark mode. So that's why the colors look... Danny, you have to turn off dark mode. That's why the color looks weird. There we go. Okay, nutrition, lifestyle, mindset, holistic approach of losing weight. Okay, so it's mostly centered around, like we mentioned, your client base are mostly moms who just have birth. They might have some body dysphoria. They want to lose some weight. They want to get back into shape. They want their energy levels back. Can you scroll down? Okay, scroll further down. That's a pretty functioning website. Let's keep scrolling. And then your success stories at the bottom, huh?
Yeah.
And how many clients are you working with at the moment?
At the moment, we have around 30.
On the Zoom? Or the one-to-one?
That's all together.
That's all together?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming what, like 60, 70% is Zoom, and then the remaining 10 to 20 is one-to-one?
I only have 4 one-to-one clients. All the rest are on Zoom.
And is that because of your availability time-wise, or is that because they're not interested in doing one-to-one, or what's the bottleneck?
That's because I've kind of set up my business in a way where, yes, I do work crazy hours if I want to, but I don't need to. I've studied different business courses and I've had a business mentor and I've set up my business in a way that it kind of does run itself, and I can take a bit of a back step. I can travel, I can work from anywhere in the world, anywhere from my laptop. So I only take on a small amount of clients because if I travel or I want to work from somewhere else. Plus, I want to give them a really good quality service and be able to dedicate all of my kind of time and effort with those people, and generally people that really need it or they have injuries and really need the extra help. Otherwise, they'll be online because it's flexible.
Interesting. Oh, I mean, you're looking at me like...
So, I mean, the really great thing about it is now, if I've got these one-to-one clients really fit and healthy and they know how to train and I've taught them well, if I do travel, all they need is dumbbells and I can continue to do the classes with them.
Okay.
And then we're back. And then we're back in the gym.
What's the kind of, I mean, do you do it like monthly or yearly, the contracts, or?
So mainly it is 12 weeks.
12 weeks.
Because 12 weeks is the perfect amount of time it takes to lose around 10 kilos,
3
make
months,
a really
basically.
good change, learn new habits, learn how to cook, learn portion control. And then after that 12 weeks, they have the option if they want to continue and lose more or do a reverse diet. Don't know if you've heard of that before.
That's where you slowly take in foods again, right?
Yeah, because a lot of the problems are related to the girls that get the weight off and then they start eating normally and then they gain all the weight back plus more.
Yo-yoing.
And most of the clients that sign up, probably all of them, have never heard of this before. So it's basically we get the weight off, we put them on a reverse diet, we gradually increase their calories back up, we gradually take away the amount of exercise they're doing, the amount of cardio, so they can maybe work out 3 times a week, eat whatever they want, and still maintain their weight.
Interesting. So are you a believer of the conservation of energy in the sense of calorie in, calorie out?
What do you mean? Elaborate.
So in the sense of that calorie is a calorie. So it doesn't matter where you get that calorie from. Like if you eat, like for example, let's say your daily rate is 1,000 calories, right? So do you believe that 1,000 calories if you eat one pizza or chicken and rice, is that the same, or are those two different things then for you?
So
from a macro perspective, they're different.
I don't get clients to track macros. I don't overcomplicate things. I try to keep things really simple. Their diet needs to be balanced. I teach them how to have a really healthy, balanced diet, but I do allow them to have chocolate every day, a packet of crisps every day if they want, once a week if they do want to have a pizza or eat out, that's fine. I don't believe in a restrictive diet, but I do believe in like the 80-20 rule. 80% of your food should be natural, whole foods, well balanced.
Interesting.
20% should be tasty things you really want to eat, your sweets, your crisps.
Interesting. So it would be takeout pizza for you different than a home cooked pizza? Right. I'm like this is the interesting thing when it comes to nutrition. I mean, specifically anything in nutrition when we talk from the science perspective, it's so difficult. It's so difficult. There's hardly been any good science coming around from nutrition. There's only been like 3 or 4 good publications on papers, and they were coming from the military, because that's the only way you can actually control like the lifestyle and what the input is without the participants lying on their data sheets.
I mean, no one's perfect. No one's going to get it right 100% of the time. No one's going to eat perfectly. They're going to have slip-ups.
That's not the question I'm asking, though. I'm saying does it matter to you where that calories are coming from?
Yes, it
okay,
does.
There we go. Thank you. Okay.
Of course, because at the end of the day, you could eat 100 grams of chicken, no, let's say 250 grams of chicken.
Sure.
Or 250 grams of chocolate.
Sure.
Yes, they're exactly the same amount of calories. A ton of bricks, a ton of feathers, same thing. But how that will make you feel is completely different. Your chicken is going to help keep you full. It's going to help keep you energized. The chocolate, on the other hand, will keep you full for maybe 20 minutes. You're going to have a crash. You're going to have the brain fog. You're going to feel like crap, and you're going to crave more sugar. So it's really important to have a good balance, so you're not depriving yourself of things that you love, but also eating things that are going to make you feel really good.
So do you believe in insulin hacking and stuff like that, or not so much a big component for it?
I don't know what that is.
So the process of losing fat is usually in component of how resistant your body is to insulin.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Right? That's why bodybuilders inject insulin, for example. It's because it helps the fat burning and tighten up their tissue.
So basically, when it comes to insulin, actually here...
Sorry, I'm being very I'm being very technical with you today.
Okay, yeah, no, it's fine. I'm happy with that. A lot of girls here suffer with PCOS, polycystic ovary syndrome, higher than most places that I've ever lived. It's not very common in Ireland, but here, quite a lot of girls have it, more than, anywhere else. And a lot of it is down to, I think, the quality of food they eat, and maybe a little bit down to genetics, but mainly quality of food. And a lot of people here, their primary food source is carbs, rice, sugar, dates, hummus, all the good stuff. And the easiest way to lose fat and improve your health and fix PCOS is to help balance out your insulin level, your sugar levels, so that your body doesn't have to produce large amounts of insulin, because you're always fighting back and forth. You've got that constant crash, and it's always a struggle to lose weight if your insulin's high and if your stress is high. It's a recipe for disaster. So tying it back to the insulin question, I just try to advise food groups that are balanced and maybe lower GI options, lower glycemic index options, so that their sugar levels are more stable. Because a lot of these moms and ladies that are busy and they're stressed, so they stress eat and they eat sugar, and that's a vicious circle, and it's really hard to get out of that, because you eat because you're stressed or you feel like crap, and for 10 minutes you feel good, then you crash again, and it's a constant cycle, and that can lead to bad relationships with food, disordered eating. And it's really hard to break out of that cycle. And that's actually something that I did suffer with in the past for a long time. And yeah, it's just educating women. Okay, instead of just eating a bowl of rice and or bread with cheese, balance every meal with a portion of protein. Because protein has a thermogenic effect, which means when you digest it, it actually burns calories, and it's less likely to store as fat than carbs or fat would. It digests better. So when you eat a well-balanced meal with protein and fat in it and your carb, there's a less, the insulin spike, the blood sugar spike, is much less because your meals are balanced.
Okay.
So it's just a really good habit I get myself into, I get my girls into, is protein with every meal. So if you're having some carbs, just make sure you have a portion of protein with that.
Do you recommend then intermittent fasting, or as I think the literature calls it, feeding window? I don't
believe in any fad diets.
You think that's a fad diet? Interesting.
Now, that said, everyone's different, and for some people that might work really, really well. But for majority of people, and knowing my clients and my target market, it's not good for them.
Interesting.
Because they're going long periods throughout the day, they're busy, they're at work, they're with their kids, their energy will be low. So they need to maintain that energy. Another thing, a lot of them don't do it right. Okay. So they think, because I'm eating in a smaller window, I can still eat whatever I want. And it doesn't work like that. Another issue is maybe they don't eat enough food and then they get nutritional deficiencies. And then what happens if you've got a birthday, if you've got an event, if your friends invite you out? People here are very social around food and coffee. It means you're going to be sitting there not eating. So for some people, amazing, it's great. But for majority of people and my target market, I wouldn't say it's the best option.
Because and as a replacement for glucose, especially you can use ketones. You can get they're like it's like a liquid. You can just put it in your mouth, and that'll give you like a spike of energy that you would get from glucose.
I've had quite a lot of people come to me and say they've tried keto and they've tried intermittent fasting. Every single one of them have had health issues, or maybe they've lost some weight at the start and then it's completely stagnant and then they're stuck.
I can talk I don't give a shit about my weight. For me, it's the mental component. And for me, I'm much more switched on. I'm much more present is when I'm fasting than if I ate breakfast in the morning. For me, mentally, there's a huge, huge difference. And the same thing is for me with cigarettes. Because if I smoke, it's for me more of a nicotine as a dopamine, and not so much as a dopamine prospect, but more from a neurotropic perspective. It allows me to concentrate for longer. It allows me to be present for longer. So if I'm having a very difficult discussion, you'll see me smoking a lot more than I'm just having like a conversation of like, hey, how's the weather? You know, yeah. That's for me, like everything is centered around brain.
I do get that. And I did try fasting for Ramadan. I've tried it a few times. And you really need to know what you're doing to feel that, energized feeling and to feel sharp, because I feel a lot of women here, they don't understand the right way to fast. And funny enough, although, Muslims have been doing it since they're 12 years old, a lot of the girls, when they come to me, they have no idea how to fast properly. And when I first moved here, I was like, oh, great, everyone's going to be losing weight. It's going to be fantastic. It's going to be an easy month for me. And everyone was gaining weight. And I couldn't understand why. And they were tired and they were lethargic and they were drained, headaches, no energy. And I was
That's just sugar crash.
I was like researching and, I did try it on myself. And I was like, yeah, when you don't have food in your stomach, it does make you more alert and it does make you sharp, but there's a right way to do it and a wrong way to do it. So after researching it, tried it on myself, being here for a good few years, seeing what goes down when they break their fast and understanding what they eat, I was able to then kind of create a program around that. So every Ramadan, I get great success with my clients. They do a really great job. They feel good. They look good. And, there's no more lethargic feeling, no more brain fog. It's just getting that balance so they can still enjoy food and eat with their family, and they're educated about portion control.
Okay.
But especially how they break their fast. That's really important.
Okay. Oh, you're specifically talking about Ramadan now, not in general. Because you're not so much, like you just said, a big opponent or big fan of intermittent fasting, feeding window, or whatever you want to call it.
No, I wouldn't be so much. When it comes to intermittent fasting,
huge health benefits. I'm pitching it hard with you.
Yeah, it does.
What's it called when cells eat themselves? It's a process of my brain. Danny? Can you look it up? Cells eating themselves. There's a specific term for it.
Cell regeneration.
No. Autophagy. There's autophagy, and then there's another word.
I don't disagree with you. There are a lot of health benefits, but the problem is people aren't educated well enough to do it right. That's the issue. So, and another thing, I don't think it's something that a lot of people can maintain long term. If they travel, if there's different time zones, if there's occasions, if there's birthdays, it's hard to keep that up long term, that intermittent fasting.
Sure.
Now, a really great thing to do is even to stop eating by 7 o'clock
Sure.
and having a good 12-hour window where, you know, it gives your digestive system a break.
Sure.
But honestly, there's so many different diets out there. Everyone's different. Everyone needs something different. There's different things to suit them. But I just prefer creating a diet around habits and food that my clients already eat. So if they like a particular thing for breakfast, if they like coffee in the morning, if they eat a particular type of sweet, I will adapt their meal plan around what they love, their eating habits. If they're not necessarily a breakfast person, that's okay. Have your coffee in the morning, eat your breakfast a little bit later. But everyone's diet's different, and I just teach them to have what you normally have, a little bit more balanced, without taking out any food groups, without removing your sugar and the things that you enjoy, because it's more sustainable. I feel when people are put on a crazy diet or a crash diet, or if I was to tell someone to do intermittent fasting they've never done before, or someone who does intermittent fasting to eat normally, the first thing they're going to do when they stop is go back to their old eating habits. So if I can just teach them really good habits based on how they currently eat, that's so much easier to stick with them long term.
Sure, it's progressive changing of behavior rather than radical change of behavior. But I don't know if there's. I mean, I'm coming from a science background when it comes to like the intermittent thing. I mean, it's such a key indicator on your biodynamics, especially breaking fast. For example, if you time it right with your behavior, it suddenly becomes an indicator for sleep. So, for example, if you generally, let's say, do one meal a day, but by the time your body naturally knows by the time that food hits your stomach that it's going to be sleeping time in 4 hours. So it's very, very good for people who travel a lot, for example, in different time zones. You know, they just fast like they normally do. The moment they get to the hotel, they eat a little bit. 4 hours later, you're feeling tired and you're gone. So it has this like benefits in the larger scope of things. So that's why I'm so dedicated to it, because I think from a larger perspective, it has so many more benefits. It's also not natural. It was never in human, like never prior to the 18th century, since the Industrial Revolution was the only time where people were able to eat at any time of the hour. Mm-hmm. Prior to that, you know, you ate when you had food, and when you didn't, you didn't. That was just it.
Exactly. The problem when I did try to fast, the problem with having that one meal as such is your stomach shrinks, so you can't eat the amount of calories you need.
Interesting. I never thought about it that way.
So, say, as an average female, probably you want to be eating around 1,500 to 1,800 calories. Mm-hmm. And for me to fit that in such a short space of time, I really struggled with that. I was probably eating around 500 calories when I tried fasting for Ramadan. Similar. And I got to the point where I was feeling really bad down the line because I couldn't eat enough and then I had to sleep. So, number one, I find it's hard to get that amount of food in one meal. It's a lot of stress, one meal on your digestive system, and it's too many calories to get in one go.
Interesting.
So, from that perspective, sometimes it's a little bit difficult. But if you're someone who, you're right, travels a lot, or if you're someone who has a sedentary desk job, you're not moving, that's a really good option for them, because they'll go home, they'll eat, and they'll maybe sleep a little bit later, so they'll have a little bit more time to space their meals out.
But this is another thing that I want to broach on the topic with you. I think one of the most dangerous things that I see both from nutritionists, dietitians, I mean dietitians isn't a real degree, but nutritionists and physiotherapists and, well, anyone in the sports and health related world, is that when you take someone who has, what's the stress hormone called again, Dan?
Cortisol?
Cortisol, thank you. When you have someone who is on high cortisol, like a trader, for example, maybe a mom who's going through some difficulties and who's just banging her not biodynamics, her whatever the gut bacteria is called, microbiome, and then say, hey, you know what? Now that you're working a stressful, whatever, 8 hours, go to a high intensity workout, where it's like CrossFit or something like that. Those people burn out in the span of like 2 months because you're going from one high cortisol event to another high cortisol event with literally no rest other than the sleep. And some people don't even do that.
Yeah. I mean, that's something that I work with a lot. Nearly everyone I work with has stress. They work long hours, they have kids, and including myself, I don't have kids, but I'm stressed. I've completely changed my style of training to how I used to train years ago. Now I would train for maybe 30 minutes and a lot lighter, because when I train hard, I don't feel good, I feel exhausted. So when I train these ladies, I train them in a way that they've got a really good balance. We've got the different classes, so for different levels. So whether you've just given birth and it's postnatal and you need to fix your core and your diastasis recti, which is your bread and butter, and then you progress slowly to the beginner's class, the intermediate and advanced. If I have a girl come to me and her family have got corona, she's stressed, she's home with the kids, and she's an advanced client, I would tell her, you need to regress a bit. Walk for the week, take the week off, try the beginner's class, and go from there, because you're right. If you burn yourself out in both ends, it's equally as stressful, because your body can't distinguish the difference between physical stress and mental stress.
I'm with you on this. I'm 100% behind you.
So sometimes it's so much better to take a step back. And the results as well, if you're really stressed, it's so hard to lose weight. And the last thing you want to give that girl is a really intense program, a really intense diet.
And then
She's going to break. So we need to keep things really, really simple for people.
No, I agree with you. I think the best time in my life, I think mentally and physically, was in my early 20s where it was 45 minutes of cardio in the morning. Then I had like 4 to 5 hours of work, which was like high intensity work, mostly consultation based or whatever, like problem solutions or stuff like that. And then I'd have another workout in the evening, which would be like an hour or two. And that was usually just a strength based exercise because I love powerlifting, bodybuilding. And by the end of that night, I remember I'd feel wrecked, but I'd feel relaxed, right? I'd feel like, and then maybe I would do a sauna or something like that. And then by the time I get home, maybe eat something and then khalas. And that was the best period I can think of where it was mentally as well, mostly switched on.
Now, I don't physically have the time or energy to train how I used to train and to lift really heavy weights. I have a lot going on. I need to find a good balance. And right now, I don't exercise to look good. I exercise to feel good.
I love that. I love that marketing pitch.
I used to, my main goal was like, I want a six-pack. That's the main reason why I took up bodybuilding, because I wanted to push myself. I wanted to push my boundaries and I wanted to look good. Now, I have no interest in having a six-pack. I would rather wake up and feel really good than...
Did you really want that masculine look though?
Have abs and feel like shit. Back then, I loved it. Looking back now, not so much. Like, guys would get intimidated by me. My target market wouldn't want to work with me because they don't want to look manly and have muscles. It was nice, and I do kind of miss it.
Really?
But it's too much hard work and it's not sustainable. To look that ripped, your body starts to break down.
You had what, 12% body fat?
At 8%.
You had 8%? Fucking hell.
Yeah, 8%.
There's only a few people I know that are year-round around like sub 10.
And you can't maintain that. To maintain that year-round, it's not sustainable, especially for a female, because when your body fat's that low, they don't tell you all the side effects. Your body starts to break down. Your reproductive system starts to shut down.
Yeah, I know
It
girls who
messed
didn't
up.
get periods anymore and stuff like that.
Yeah, like I didn't have a period for a year. My hormones were completely messed up, and it caused a really bad eating disorder, which I suffered with for about 5 years, and it was terrible.
Well, guys are a little bit different because we have also a different breakdown when it comes, not just hormonally, but we have also genetically, depending on what ethnicity you are, you have a separation of either fast twitch or slow twitch muscle groups. That's why you see like most of the powerlifters in the world tend to be white because they usually have a more proportion of slow twitch muscle. So that's why if you look at the top 5 powerlifters. I don't even think there's a single black guy in the group. They're also always East European.
Yeah.
Just to go in images.
Yeah, you're right.
They're all Eastern Europeans.
Yeah.
And I think there might be one black guy now, but I don't think there is.
Yeah, you're right.
To follow on Instagram, that doesn't mean anything.
But you know, as you progress through life, as you get older, life changes, your job changes, your career changes, you have more stress. You need to adapt your style of training. But from bodybuilding, it gave me a lot of anxiety over being in a gym and lifting weights. It actually put me off completely, where I stopped training and I took up cycling for a good year or 2 years. I didn't go near a gym.
You didn't like the energy and the vibe you get from the people there? It's a very supportive community.
It's not that. It's because I went through so much stress to get in that shape where I used to have to train twice a day, and I was fueling myself on about 5 coffees and pre-workout, and I probably had adrenal fatigue, physically and mentally exhausted. So I wasn't enjoying it. It got to the point where my love and my passion was taken away because I had to do this thing. It wasn't really a choice anymore because I had an end goal and I had a competition to do. So I used to go to the gym and I used to be doing my cardio and I used to be crying and wishing it was over. So that kind of stuck with me for a while.
Yeah, that's hard to get over that trauma.
And then every time I stepped into a gym, I just got that sinking feeling in my stomach. I don't want to be here. So I took a long time off. I took up cycling. That was really good physically, mentally, great for your stamina, out getting fresh air. I actually started off with cycling bees. That's not how I know Dana. And then went with other cycling groups, the guys' cycling groups, and I got really good at it. And then eventually started getting back into the gym again. But I completely changed my style of training. And now it's something I enjoy, and I don't push myself to the max.
I find that interesting because I've never liked cycling, and I find people who like cycling very strange breed.
Yeah. But then, you know, I take up different things and different hobbies. But now back to weight training, fast and effective sessions, 30 minutes, 45 max, in and out.
So you do what, like cardio? What, once a day?
I don't really do a lot of cardio. I just do strength training.
So you just do strength training these days? Yeah?
Not
Any
a
mobility
fan.
work or no mobility work?
Yep, I'll do mobility, I'll do stretching.
Static or
like
dynamic?
Dynamic at the start, static at the end.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
The old school bodybuilders are like never stretch ever, and the new generations are a little bit more.
Oh, always. Because I get injuries, I get tightnesses, I have lower back problems, a problem with my hip, comes with age and training. So yeah, I always have to stretch.
Do you have like a dedicated day where you just work on mobility?
No, I don't. But I do include it before and after every workout.
Okay.
And I do that with my clients as well. It's really important.
No, I'm just interested because I know like a few people now who are in the fitness industry who've added to their routine at least they say at least twice a week of a full 45-minute like mobility workout where it's just about like getting as loose as possible, and they're saying that it's helping their muscle activation.
And, again, if you've got the time, great. I don't, so I gotta keep it short and sweet and do what I can with the time I have. So you need to find that balance, and if you exercise excessively, it's more stressful, and you actually have the reverse effect. You don't build as much muscle, or your health declines, or you struggle to lose weight because you're, on the flip side, exercising too much and not nourishing your body, and your body just becomes stagnant because it's so stressed.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy. I mean, most of the people's problems are their own cause, right?
Yep.
Do you do anything other than fitness?
No.
No? So that's all you are? It's just fitness?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay. I mean, Bahrain, I think, suits your later stages of your life more than your early stages.
See, when I was younger, I've been there, done that. I traveled, I partied. Now I'm at that stage in my life where I just want to work on my career and settle. I used to drink when I was younger. I completely stopped. Well, that said, maybe once a year. Once a year. A special occasion or a wedding, but...
You don't miss it at all?
No, I do not.
We're different.
Don't like how it makes me feel the next day. I have a lot of people to take care of, and when you're hungover, it knocks off for the rest of the week.
Yeah, but you don't have to go to that extent.
I don't even really enjoy the taste that much, and I can still have a good time and go out and be sober. So, for health benefits and for being on my A game, I'd rather not. I've done that, been there, done that.
I mean, I don't know where you're nearly. I imagine we're the same generation, but I mean, there's nothing better to me on a hot summer day, a cold pint. I mean, for me, that's that's perfection. Especially if you're sitting on the beach or something like that.
For me, it would be an iced latte.
See, I mean, I don't. Everyone's different, I guess. But for me, it's like a cold brewski, a cold beer, and just chilling and just looking out in the sun on the beach, and that's just for me.
Yeah, been there, done that. Doesn't appeal to me anymore.
Okay. Yeah. I'm not going to try sell it on you. Everyone to their own. What else do you do other than, we've talked about your fitness, we've talked a little bit about your experience in Ireland, we've talked a lot about your experience in Bahrain and liking it, and you don't feel like you could grow your business faster in Dubai or Saudi Arabia? Both, you don't want to go to Dubai because it's too hectic and too fast, and you don't want to go to Saudi because it's too conservative, I imagine.
No, I wouldn't mind actually. I have considered, expanding to Saudi. It's something that I'm considering, and it's in the pipeline. Dubai, I feel, is quite saturated, but it really depends on the market and who prefers to train online. But Dubai is pretty saturated, so a lot of people, when they come here from the UK or abroad, first place they go, Dubai. No one really comes to Bahrain or Saudi because they've never heard of it, or what they hear in the media.
I'm with you. I agree with that.
Yeah. Saudi, considering that one.
Why? Because it's more conservative?
No, not. I just think, it's still a market to be tapped into. There's a lot of potential there. There's a lot of women that need to get fit and healthy. And Saudi's starting to open up a lot more and become a lot more modern. Yeah. And people are starting to be more aware of health and value their health.
Well, I mean, it's hard to say. It's not, this is unsolicited advice, but I feel like your business model needs more tweaking, because right now it's centered around a Zoom-centric thing instead of being something like AOL Moves. Can you type that in, Danny? ALO, and then it's like that yoga brand.
Alo Moves, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a new business. I do have things in the pipeline for the future, and something like this would be really great, and it's something that I am considering. But yeah, it's just a new company. I only really, it only got properly registered and everything about a year or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's still new. I'm still dabbling with things. I have ideas in the pipeline and things for the future, inshallah. But I want to focus on this part first and having a really good foundation before I work on the scalable part of it, because I did take on a business course and I did scale my business and I did have a lot more clients, but I didn't know them. I didn't really know them. And it took that enjoyment away from coaching, because it's just, it's another number, it's another income, and I didn't enjoy that. I want to know that person, what makes them tick, who their kids are, their favorite song, what makes them happy, what makes them sad. I love that part of personal training, rather than just this scalable people signing in. I don't know who they are, and I want to give them a really bespoke kind of experience, because there's no accountability to these apps. And yes, however, I do want to do it down the line, but there's no accountability. If they don't feel like doing it, they don't have to. If they're not losing weight, they don't understand why. They don't really understand what to do with their diet. They're just given a plan to follow and workouts to do. And you can do that easily off YouTube. So I'd rather take them through the whole process, educate them how it's done, so they're skills that they'll learn for the rest of their life.
Anything else you wanted to bring up? Did you have fun at least, Michelle?
I did.
Yeah?
Of course.
Yeah. What do you say, of course? Of
course. It's really nice to be asked on something like this. I was asking the guys, like, why me? And they were like, oh, we just find people that we've thought interesting. The fact that you thought I was interesting, thank you.